Thanks, everyone, and welcome to the September 19th, 2023 Operator Framework Working Group meeting, um, or OLM Working Group meeting. So go ahead and start the meeting and kick off with the briefs and RFCs under review. So it looks like we have the Catalog D polling RFC with a lazy consensus date of September 25th, and is under review. I don't know if Anik, you want to talk any more on this, or
Yeah, I had a quick question about this. So this RFC has been out for almost a week, or maybe it's just a little more than a week. The notification was sent out on the Slack channel too. And while we had a lot of comments in the beginning of the week, I think the comments have sort of stopped coming in now. I'd put in the lazy consensus data as September 25th to be aligned with the other RFCs that was taking 2 or 3 weeks to get resolved. But it looks like we might be in a place, or it sounds like we might be in a place where we are ready to put this in the ready status instead of keeping it open till the 25th of September. I don't know if there's any objection to doing that for any reason, or if anybody feels like they haven't had a chance to take a look at it and would like some more time.
I would propose that we at least leave it open a little bit longer, just in case anybody saw the due date and teed it up for not today sort of thing. I for one probably would want to take at least one more pass through it, although I've done a decent amount, so I'm not terribly concerned. But knowing that it was the 25th, I thought, okay, I'll take one more final pass through this a little later.
Okay, that's fine then. I guess we'll just keep it 25th.
Well, I was just going to say, do we want to just adjust that back so you could say, hey, you guys, have 2 more days, and if I don't see anything, I'm calling it ready?
I
Yeah.
personally would be okay with that, yeah. But I don't know if anybody else has any other time commitments that makes that difficult.
Yeah. So speak now, or whatever hold your peace.
Yeah, I guess if somebody has a time commitment challenge, then they can let me know in that Slack thread, hey, I need more than 2 days. So I guess that should work too.
Yeah. Maybe just put a shout out on the upstream channel that you changed the date, and if anyone wants to say anything, it's gonna be closed by whatever. What's the day? 19th. So I don't know, 21st, 22nd. And if anyone needs more time, they can talk directly to you.
Okay, that sounds good. Thanks, guys.
cool. So then we also have another Catalog D RFC for using a direct image registry client for unpacking catalog contents. I posted this yesterday and set the due date for the 22nd. And so there's some comments that I'm still going through and addressing and actively going through it. Just as a general rundown, this is about getting a base implementation of using a image registry client to unpack catalog contents behind a disabled by default feature gate. There have been quite a few comments around concerns around how do we respect cluster pool configurations, some security considerations, things like that, that I've marked as future work with the idea in mind that we get this basic implementation done behind a feature gate that's disabled by default, and we can iteratively improve and build on top of it. So the goal of this RFC is just to get the foundation laid with a basic implementation and go from there. And I see, Andy, you have a hand up.
Yeah, I would say we probably should announce a new RFC at one of the meetings like today, and then give at least a week for lazy consensus. So given that you're announcing it today, my suggestion would be no earlier than the 26th for lazy consensus, if that sounds cool.
that's fine by me. I will move it to the 26th. And then I see Alex, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I was just thinking, we've had a couple of questions now about like how long a RFC should like be floated in the community and like whether or not we push it out a couple of days. Is there a need for us to like update our contributing docs just to kind of call out what our expectations are on like this consensus state and like how we conduct lazy consensus?
My suggestion, I think, would be that we update the RFC template to make it obvious what the expectations are, because to be totally honest, I'm not sure how many RFC authors are going to be reading the contributing guide in advance. But if it's
Yeah.
right here in the template, then it's probably pretty easy.
Yeah,
I
that's a
can
great
do that.
idea.
I'll put some suggestions in.
Cool, thank you.
Moving on from that, looks like there's some old action item checkpoints. So it looks like Onik cut the catalog D V060 release. So thanks Onik for that. Looks like Alex cut the operator controller V050 release. So thank you, Alex. And then Alex has also created an issue for discussing the release cadence. And I see Alex, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Joe actually cut the release, so thank you, Joe.
No worries. I'm happy to share in our successes and failures.
Cool. So if there's nothing else that anybody wants to talk about on these old action item checkpoints, we'll move on to the discussion topics. But so I'll give a minute in case anybody wants to say anything else.
For some reason, I thought there was another check action item that did not have any assignee last time, which was related to the demo. Yeah, the create issue for tracking dog work.
I made an issue for that.
Okay.
And I put it under the task list issue as well. So it should be tracked and fairly obvious.
Cool. Thanks, Joe.
So for discussion topics, looks like Alex has KubeCon EU CFP is open.
Funny, this is also something that Joe brought up with the group earlier. So not in today's meeting, but in the upstream Slack. But we hit the date that Joe mentioned for call for proposals for KubeCon EU. So if you are interested in submitting one, or I guess there's a couple ways we can approach this. If you want to do something operator framework specific or anything related to controllers, and you just want like some buy-in from people, I encourage you to look at what the call for proposals process is, and then reach out for help so that we can get your proposals in a state that we think they're going to be accepted. So really just this is an opportunity for anyone in the community to promote operators. So we should try and take advantage of it if people want to do that.
Cool. So then for the next discussion topic, Varsha has Ruckpack V1 Alpha 2 API and controller changes and a demo. So if Varsha, you are ready to share your screen, I can stop sharing.
Yeah, I can go ahead and share my screen.
Cool.
Hopefully my terminal is visible.
It is, the text is a little small, but I can see the terminal.
Is it better now? How do we?
Yep, I think that works.
So yeah, a brief introduction on what this demo is about. a few community meetings before, Andy had introduced the V1 Alpha 2 APIs and had mentioned about this issue. So to quickly go over the V1 Alpha 2 API, its spec looks something like this, and we intend to move away from the general provisional logic which we have currently in Ruckpack. So in my mind, I imagine this architecture to be more of a pipeline-based model where each stage is like an extension that could be customized and swapped, but obviously has to be built into Ruckpack. So to begin with this, we first have the unpacking stage, which is defined by spec.sources, where based on the kind of source, our unpacker unpacks the contents and stores it in a locally available destination, which is specified by the user. The next step is the validation, where based on the format which is provided, whether it's registry, V1, Helm, or plain, we validate all the unpacked contents together and see if they conform to the specific rules which we define here. And the other two stages which have not been mentioned here and could possibly be added in the next iterations is the processor or templating stage, where we template the values in the bundle based on probably the cluster runtime or whatever the user has provided. And the next is the deployer stage, where right now we are using a Helm deployer, which basically means that whether it's registry, V1, Helm, or plain bundle, we use Helm releases and Helm charts under the hood to deploy content. And tomorrow, maybe we could use just kubectl create or apply and then apply content. Basically, it's something which could be swapped. But right now, we use just the Helm deployer, which is there in V1 Alpha 1.2. So based on this spec, I already have Ruckpack running. And in this case, the core controller is going to handle everything, all the kinds of bundles, whether it's plain, registry, Helm 1, it's going to handle all the logic of unpacking, validating, and deploying, which has been implemented for now. Thing to notice is there's no different controller for different provisioners, since we are moving away where we define the controller logic based on the kind of the input bundle format. So considering that, this is the bundle deployment, which I'm going to apply. And here we have the sources where I have defined two kinds of sources. One is image, another one is Git. Now, in this case, I'm going to deploy whatever operator is defined by this image. And in addition to the operator applied, created through this image, I also would like to argument it with probably, say, a monitoring stack, whose are certain set of manifests which I have defined externally here. So for the ease of it and just for the demo, I'm not going to deploy the whole Prometheus monitoring stack, but I'm just going to show that this service particularly gets created. So let's go ahead and create the bundle deployment and let's see what happens. So we have, once the bundle deployment is created, we have the unpacking stage, which is successful, the validate stage, and the installation has succeeded. Now, going again to the spec, we see that the format defined is plain, which basically means that whatever manifests have been unpacked from both the sources need to conform to the plain format. And the next thing which we see is the default namespace, which is combo. So the unpacking basically and the deployment basically happens in the order in which the sources are defined. So if we get the service, we see that before that, I don't have the namespace to the service defined here. But as a user, I define the default namespace here, which means that any objects who don't have the namespace defined would be installed in the default namespace. The other option which we have here is the ability to pause reconciliation. So I am going to patch the bundle deployment and say in spec.post field and set the spec.post field to true. So in this case, let me show what happens here. I reconcile and I get a log message that bundle deployment has been paused for reconciliation. Now, this could possibly be helpful when I would not like to take action on the content deployed on by the particular bundle deployment. And in one of the documents which was created by Frederick, this is also used, could be useful while migrating, in which I don't want the bundle to be reconciled by two different controllers, V0 and V1. In that case, I would like to pause the reconciliation by the V1 controller. So now if I just change the format, nothing happens. But if I had not set the spec.post field to true and probably done this patch, I would have errored out saying whatever the contents have been unpacked do not conform to the specific format. So yeah, this was the demo on the V1 Alpha 2 APIs. This is all I have. So this is just to give a quick peek into how things would look if we move away from the provisioner-based logic, and just to get some thoughts and comments from the community.
Tony's got his hand up.
Yeah, this is looking great. Thanks. Quick question. So I saw you specify the default namespace in the deployment, about deployment. So what if the namespace doesn't exist beforehand? Will this create the new namespace, or it would just fail out?
Yeah, so for this, it would not create a new namespace, and the namespace is expected to be present. If not, we would just fail out telling it could not be deployed.
Thanks.
Yeah, we're probably going to want to change that to create the namespace.
Gotcha. Thanks.
That was really awesome, Varsha. That was really cool to see. Thank you.
Thanks, Andy. So I would also, I'll also send the particular, this work is being tracked in TruckPack. So I'll probably mention the PRs where this work is being done. So if anyone has any thoughts or any comments on how we could improve, we can definitely start working on it. So that's it from my end.
Cool. Thanks, Varsha. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen again, and we will start going over the milestone check-in if there's nothing else on Varsha's demo.
Yeah, I'm all good.
Right, so for catalog D, it looks like we have the V070 milestone, and that we have 4 issues left in here. One is the epic feature or the epic issue that is progressing along well. Looks like there's only 2 issues left, and I believe both of them are in progress. So that is progressing well, and we'll be probably ready to cut this release fairly soon. I think there's a lot of these are almost resolved. So for our further controller, looks like we have a V060 with 7 issues in it.
I just threw a bunch of those in there, so this probably needs, I don't know, Alex, if you guys have looked at this at all yet, but you might want to take a look and see if those all make sense.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Cool. And then for Ruckpack, looks like there's a V0140 with 3 issues. And looks like it's all related to bundle deployment health. Anybody have anything on this that they want to talk about? So
I'm
move on
pretty
to
sure that all of those issues are solved by the same PR. So
That's
I think we just need to keep reviewing that PR and get it in. It's been through a couple of rounds, and I think I saw where Joachim updated it as of like yesterday or something. So I think it's getting pretty close, is my point.
And then Deputy still says, is this still accurate that the milestone is not current and we need to skip that?
Yes. So just for information, so I finished the sort of lean pipeline demo. I posted it up in the upstream chat with instructions if anyone wants to try it out and have a look. Nikolai has been on bug.cop, so on call for the past week, but my plan is now that he's off rotation to talk to him and sort of build out the immediate roadmap for Depi. I don't think there's much that's going to go in there. Honestly, I think the only thing that's missing from a Depi project, and I don't know how everybody else feels, is just this kind of framework for building this problem to make it easy for people to be able to consume it. I don't know what that is, or if that should be built out in Depi or built out in operator framework first and then brought down. I don't know. But yeah, I'll talk to Nikolai, and I hope by next meeting we'll have a roadmap that we can talk about. But Depi doesn't block operator controller or any other work.
Cool. Thanks, Per. For action items, I'll create the next meeting agenda kind of offline so people don't have to watch me do that. And then is there anybody who would like to volunteer for hosting the next meeting? Okay, I'll leave it as blank for now, and we will try to find somebody as time comes closer. And then Alex, I added action item for you to just take another look at the operator controller 060 milestone. That's it.
Okay. Yep. And I'll just lead the next upstream meeting. So just assign it to me.
Okay, sounds good. Cool. Well, if there's nothing else that anybody else or anybody wants to discuss or talk about, I believe that is the end of this meeting and people can have about 30 minutes back.
Thanks, Bryce. Later, folks.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.